Sweet. I'm sure we'll have more people jumping in, but thanks everybody for jumping on so far. We're gonna have, I'm gonna give a little intro to Andrew here. So I talked to him, a couple weeks ago, and he was kind of telling me what he's doing with his, he's coaching a couple of people, transitioning them and helping them develop an online coaching business. And we're always in the mode to try to help our gyms generate more money and more income, and not spread yourself too thin with all these different things. But I really enjoy, Andrew's been with us he signed the proposal from us in 2018. So he's been with us just for a couple of years, and he's grown from brick and mortar, and I won't steal the light from him too much, to doing just online only. And I think it's very important to learn what he has to say. And even if it's just an addition to your brick and mortar business, I mean, what would an extra $1,000 or $2,000 a month do for your business? It's usually quite a big impact on what it can do for you. So, but Andrew's just a great guy. He's such an honest guy. He really cares about people, and he's all about just like sharing his wealth of knowledge. And he's proven what he does, like Andrew, I can log into his Hive and I can see the revenue that he does, and he'll show you some of that. And he makes pretty good money. I think everyone would be pretty happy with the amount of money that Andrew makes. But as you see him present, you'll see that he is just a genuine guy. He cares about everybody. And I hope you guys can get some good stuff out of this. I'm really excited to have him on and do a presentation and show you what he's built. And hopefully you guys can get some nuggets out of this and be able to either add something like this, or it can be something that you're already doing in addition to make it even better. So that being said, Andrew, love you, man. You're the man. Take it.
Excellent. I appreciate it. And it was crazy as we were reminiscing how long we've actually spent. So I think I was like one of the first people to even join kind of, Fifth Hive and its process. And you guys have grown so much as well too. Not just as I say software, but it's like 10 times more than software. Like people don't understand, which is why I don't like to label it as that. The growth should always be something that's ever present. If you're not growing, you're dying. And if you're in this place where, whether it's your business or even your personal skills are at this standstill, then, hopefully with this presentation, we can encourage you to increase and improve in other ways. That's really what my intention is today. It's to walk you through what's possible through online coaching, give you basically the starting points of what an online development brand should be, because some of you guys on the call have facilities and locations. Others might just be doing this as online coaching just by itself. And then, of course, I want to open up the questions to you guys so you can get some personal questions and really help you guys dial this down. Some of this stuff at the beginning is going to be a little bit of a general overview so you can understand what's possible. And then basically we'll dive into some individual things here. So there's my my lovely face. So for you guys, I'll just be Andrew for this call. But for most people, I'm Coach Andrew, the hormone helper at Fit for All Fitness. So hormones is kind of my specialty that I've chosen to really dial into. And I encourage you all, regardless of whether you have a facility or online, that you all get really specific about what you do as well too. So in terms of our company, like we have been in Fit Hive community for a while now. The largest conversation that facility owners and coaches are asking within this group, they're asking me, they're asking Sunny, is really two questions. One, they're saying, can I add online onto what we already do as supplemental revenue, or is this something that I build into a separate brand? People don't want to confuse the services that they already do. They're at this point where maybe they're trying to dip their toe into what online coaching can provide, but they don't really know if it should be separate or if it should be something that's a bolt-on for their business. The second question is, how can I build this online portion without it taking more time from my already lacking schedule? So for a lot of you guys, coaching, the actual physical coaching or working with somebody is still something that's a very big part of your day-to-day life. So online coaching, while it can be something where you can build a lot of revenue too, you're saying to yourself, I don't want it to take any more time, because really you want to have a life outside of just coaching. So it's trying to do stuff with less of that time. So I actually want to ask you guys a question. I want you to drop in the chat. So drop a 1 if you've got a boutique facility, like less than 2,000 square feet. Drop a number 2 if you've got a CrossFit gym or some type of affiliation facility, and a 3 if you've got a 24-hour general membership gym. I asked this because, and if you're just doing online, drop a 4, like we pretty much know who you are. Because there are multiple ways, just like this picture shows in front of you, there's multiple ways for someone to build a business, and online can be a part of any single standalone piece besides just being by itself. So for example, me and my partner Lorna, we actually owned a boutique studio. So ours was very small, it was 1,300 square feet. We could only accommodate 14 people at one time in our facility. So everything that we had to do was boutique, it was one-on-one, and we were still able to incorporate online as a part of our business. We did it from group coaching, we did it with accountability, we did it through nutrition. So it was able to be a part of our business and increase the amount of revenue that basically our clients already paid us. You could have a CrossFit gym. CrossFit gyms from online could be more community-based, where people are hopping on group coaching calls, where you might be doing lessons on proper form and instruction. Might also be used as a lead generation tactic to get people started in challenges like the Mega Pot program that Sunny and their team just recently ran at FitHive, where people draw in from an online place, and then they can either go to your facility or they can stay 100% online. And online even works for those really, really big 24-hour gyms. And it actually works really effective for them because the people are already paying such a really low price point. So if someone is paying, and you know, some of the memberships, I know everyone's memberships are all over the place in terms of what they're charging. But if someone is paying 30 or 40 bucks a month, it's nothing for them to pay $59 or $79 a week to get nutrition support and one-on-one communication with a coach. It could be that simple and be the thing that keeps them consistently going to your facility and allows them to build. So there's really no wrong way to do what online is. Now, these next couple slides are really to show you what's possible. Our brand, or the brand of coaching, which is Fit for All Fitness, my company, it's actually an incorporation. So we have multiple companies that we run under this brand. We had our facility, we had the full online portion where we help people with hormones. My wife runs the division where we work with binge eaters and people with eating disorders. And then we even have a supplement company under this brand. We actually did this really low key and first for the online perspective because we had our physical facility and we wanted to fill it. But of course, just like any physical facility, you run in with the same challenges that everybody else does. I was jammed in my time. My 6 a.m. spots all the way to my 9 p.m. spots were full. So at that point, we had to say, well, how do we continue to make more money with this facility? And this is then where we implemented that sole online brand. Now, in 2020, when COVID happened, I made the decision to move fully online because I like traveling and I like doing business from anywhere. So I'm not at my place of residence right now. I like to travel. So for me, the facility didn't make sense. But both of them were very profitable, and this was a great way to supplement in addition. So it doesn't really matter what type of brand you build from an online process. What matters is that there are ways where you can constantly funnel and ascend clients through this process. If you work so hard to get a client to join your realm and your journey, to just have them leave or not continue with your process, that's a shame, and that's easy money as well too. So Sunny mentioned it. We make good money. This is just from our online division with Fit for All Fitness from 2021 to the beginning of January 2023. So with this, it's 100% online clients. Now, we are a lot different than traditional people in the FitHive system. I charge really, well, what people think is a lot for coaching services. There's not a single client that pays less than $880 a month. So for me, whether they're joining our group coaching program or they're choosing to work with us one-on-one, high ticket exists in the online world. And there are people, if you see on that right-hand side there, 60 payments, 57 payments, 66 payments. Our average client stays with us a year and 8 months. So if you can get a client to stay with you for close to 2 years and pay you $900 a month, what would that look like and do for your business? And the bottom line with online is really what increased our retention. The challenge that I found owning a facility is, even if I'm working with someone for personal training or for coaching, I'm seeing them 3 times a week for 1 hour a day. What happens to the other 23 hours in their life? The times where maybe they need to make food decisions, or where they need support at home because their mindset's not that it's not preventing them from going to your place of business. And what happens is if they don't work with you one-on-one, 9 times out of 10, they revert back to old habits and they follow off. So by implementing this, by having our group coaching calls, by building a community where people could show up regularly and hold each other accountable, it was less work for me. It got the community excited, and people paid more because now it was not just a workout or a meal plan, but it was a service, it was accountability, and it had a structure that was towards it. So how is our approach? So because we do everything online now, we've really built in, our entire thing is built off of FitHive and essentially Zoom. So from the app that we're using with FitHive, we're building out their training program. We give them access to the nutrition. We're making sure that they have the schedule available for the group calls. We do group calls every single week. And then, of course, some people who pay the additional for one-on-one calls, we do that as well. And then using FitHive system, we create landing pages to create a course code and structure around what the program should be. So our 3 main programs at the bottom there, our Hormone Reboot program, our Vantage program, and the Advantage program, that's all for the purpose of ascending the client, teaching the client new skills outside of their goal. Because if you're only selling them on what the goal is, once the goal is finished, regardless of whether you're a facility or not, they're going to leave. So how do you keep them in the community? How do you keep them learning? And how do you keep them engaged? So we do that through different courses. Could be hormone reboot, could be inflammation, could be a prenatal, which then leads to a postnatal. All of these smaller courses are things that you can offer your clients over and over to get them to those 60 payments. For this person to be in 60 payments, they've literally been our client for 4.5 years. So if you could have a client for 4.5 years pay you over $900 a month, that's $60,000 for just one human being. So hopefully that showed you guys a little bit of what can happen with this here. Now, in terms of online, there's really 3 ways that you can utilize online coaching. So your first is private coaching. So this is typically you'll utilize Zoom or a Google Meet, and you're trading your one-on-one time to work with someone at a high level. This is similar to PT. The only difference with this is your calls are not based on, let me walk you through your workout, but more, what are your challenges and struggles day to day? How can we continue to support you on your nutrition? And is there anything that we need to overcome together so you have your action steps for next week? Whether you're doing weekly calls with them, bi-weekly, or once a month, we do ours monthly calls. With that, our delivery is the same. You're still communicating and scheduling calls. You still give them a training and nutrition routine, and maybe throw in a few free seminars for them. One-on-one, though, is really about it being custom, building what they need. So for the clients that we charge that $1,200 to $1,400 a month for, that we're working one-on-one with, if someone comes and they say, I'm really struggling to eat while I'm going out, you bet your ass I'm going to build them an eating out system so they have a game plan to leave. Because at that price point, it's not about general info. It's about how can you help me specifically. Then we have group coaching. So group coaching comes in really 2 forms. It's either learning based. So this is something that you can do, creating a lesson or live trainings and workouts with people together. And it could be accountability based, in which case you have group coaching calls that everyone can ask questions. You learn from each other's questions and struggles, and you build a supportive community. We personally do a little bit of both. So I'll start off with a 20-minute lesson, whether it's something on inflammation or something digestion. And then from there, I open up the floor to questions so I can allow everybody to support each other. Our group coaching calls, we do one a week at an hour each, whether there's 8 people on the call or 15 people on the call. It takes the same amount of time, meaning you don't have to block any more onto your schedule, and it's not going to take more time for you. The third type that you can utilize online coaching with is called self-paced programs. So this is what I normally use as our downsell. It's important that you still have something for people to be able to work, because yes, not everybody can afford $900 to $1,200 a month. There are a lot of people who might buy self-paced programs, but they might buy 6 of your self-paced programs at $500 each and still end up spending $3,000 or $4,000 with you over the span of the year. Maybe they can't afford $1,000 in a month, but they can afford $3,500 over the span of a year, which is fine. So these self-paced programs are going to be specific courses on topics. You can't do general stuff when it comes to online, because guess what? General, you find that on bodybuilding.com for free. You'll find that on some fitness blog that anybody can go to. So a lot of our clients with the hormone issues, they suffer with bloating. Bloating is a huge issue. So I have an 8-week course on bloating. It's self-paced and it has Ascension built into it. So on those last couple of modules that they're going through, I'm talking to them about our coaching process to encourage them to take the next level. All 3 of these are different ways that you can utilize the online coaching. Now, biggest question for a lot of you guys is, which one's better for online coaching? Is it high ticket or low ticket? People are conflicted as to where they want to set and build their business. High ticket, bottom line, it's going to take more of your time, but it's less clients. If I have 5 people paying me $1,000 each, that's $5,000 versus low ticket where I might need to get 20 people to make up that same cost. One thing I will tell you though is high ticket price points, clients have longer commitments and they have a higher retention of resale. So for us, we have a 92% retention rate. 92%. Our first program is 4 months. Then they get kicked to an 8-month program. Then they get kicked to a year-long program. Hence why our average person stays the 1.8, almost 2 years. It's like a year and 8 months. So through that process, each time they're committed because they have a serious amount of skin in the game. This now becomes an integrated part of their life. With high ticket, it means you've got to have high touch points and high personability. So with this, whether you're using FitHive for the instructor chat, or you're using something like a Voxer or Slack. I like Slack because it voices people. Basically, when someone sends me a message, within 2 hours, a 2-hour response time, I'm sending a message back and I'm giving them the tips, the advice. Now, that being said, you're not going to get a million messages a day. If someone has the ability to message you and you answer effectively, you might not hear them for 3 or 4 days, which is fine. Either way, though, you have to be willing and ready to have high touch points. Because if someone pays $1,000 a month and doesn't hear from you for 2 weeks, what are the chances that they're going to stay afterwards? Now, low ticket. So low ticket, bottom line, it's a more affordable cost and you can automate a little bit more. So with low ticket or with group coaching, you don't get access to message me personally every single day, because that's what high ticket is. There is a distinct difference. If you want my time, you'll have to pay for it. Otherwise, the group coaching calls is where you're going to get our support. But really, what it's going to be is basically the ability to have a limited commitment from you while giving a high level of accountability to them, and the ability for clients to refer more and have a shorter finish time. So for our low ticket programs, like our self-paced stuff, someone might only have a self-paced program for 8 weeks, then do a seminar with a 3-day course, and then do another 6-week course. But over the span of the year, they've probably spent about 3 to 4 months with us. Out of which one is better, you need both in your business. Because if you allow people to join your world, to hop on a consultation with you, and then they're like, I can't afford $900, and you let them walk away, that's a high level of embarrassment, and they probably aren't going to come back to you if they ever can afford that. So show of hands, how many people have actually finished a consult with someone, they said no, and then that person come back to do business with them? How many people? Okay, so there's literally like only a handful of you. Every single person should have their hands up where people come back to return for business. When I have low ticket programs, I want someone on a consultation to leave with any support, because something is better than nothing. So you can't work with me for $1,200. You could start your journey in your life for an 8-week program. So you need both. Another thing as well too, low ticket, think really small, like a seminar. We charge $33 for a seminar. So let's round it to $30. If you get 10 people pay you $30 for a 1-hour seminar, you made $300 for 1 hour. That's low ticket, and that's online. There are people who will pay every day for that information and for that accessibility. So you need to have both. So before we go into how we can start to get online clients, I want to talk about what determines cost of your programs, because I've thrown a lot of numbers around and people are like, well, how do I actually structure cost about what online should be? Structuring cost is about 2 things: knowing what it costs you to deliver the program, adding in a portion of your expenses, and then of course you've got to add in your value. How many people on this call, show of hands, know actually what it costs to deliver your program? I encourage you, even if you decide not to do online as your business, to figure that out today, because that will help you with your cost huge. So this is what it takes to deliver for one person for our group coaching program. Our group coaching program is 16 weeks long. And the way that we determine the deliverables is what I pay my coach, $30 an hour, and of course, the time that things take. So in this cost of delivery, I include a couple of things: my time for the consult with the person at 40 minutes, my time for the orientation, my time to talk to them about supplements if I need to, how long it takes me to design one person's program, whether or not they purchase accountability calls, and then I add in the group coaching calls. So it's 4 hours a week. So with that, I basically add in that 4 hours for one person. Now, the benefit, as you can see in that column for one person, is group coaching. The longest amount of time you're going to spend with someone is the actual coaching call. Once you onboard them and put them into your system, it's really just revisions, which out of an entire 16-week program, I spend about an hour and a half revising that person's program. So whether I have one person, 3 people, or 15 people, the cost to actually deliver the group coaching call never changes, because I'm not increasing calls for how many people go there. So for me to take one person through my program for 16 weeks costs me $315. Now I've got to factor in those expenses. What are the softwares? So what's the portion that you're paying FitHive monthly? What is the portion of your Zoom software? Add in whatever other softwares you need to deliver this service. So our cost to deliver a 16-week program is $550. So when I'm charging $880 to $900 a month, I have the capacity to actually grow my business. Now, if I'm adding in Facebook ads as a part of this expense or some type of marketing, and I'm spending $200 to $300 to get a person onto this consult, I have to add that into the cost. So my programs are high because I want to pay my coach $30. I want to still be able to pay me, and then of course add my expenses on there. Now, as you can see for a self-run program on the right side, cost is totally different. Besides maybe a consultation that I might do with them, There's no time in orientation. There's very little time, maybe 30 minutes in program design if you have to make them a program. If you give them group access to the calls, if you want, fine. But it's really about $45 to $150. So whenever I charge an 8-week program at $900, it's all pure profit because it's very little of my engagement. So whenever you're looking at online, don't say, what do I need for the customer to swallow? Is it 79 bucks a week or 89 bucks a week? You need to start with, what's it actually going to cost me to deliver this service? And then how can I make profit on that? That should be what your price point is for this. Now, if you have all of these programs that have high levels of price, what that means is you need to say to yourself, how can I find ways to make this delivery cheaper? Is there ways that I can do it faster? Are there ways that I could be more effective? Can I automate some things to make sure that this changes as well too? So the value piece. How do we put a price on value? Well, value is about experience. It's about the problem you solve and the results you give. Your experience is really this. Have you ever coached anyone that you saw a successful result? And do you have a certification? All of your hands go up, you've got experience. That's a check mark across everybody. Results. What are the results that you provide? Well, in my case, I've coached 2,800 people at this point. It's like 2,880 or something like that. So for us, with 2,800 people, I know that my process works. The results 100%, so I can charge premium for my service. But the last part's the problem you solve. I focus on hormones for a reason, because for me, niching down, just like we have a division of our business that focuses on binge eating and eating disorders, that is a specific service. If you're just like, I'm going to help with weight loss, or I'm just going to create you a workout plan, that stuff is available for free. You can't charge a lot for that because that accessibility is so wide. People might not know what to do with the information, but the reality is you're not really solving a specific problem. So if you're going to go online, whether it's adding it as an additional service or doing separate online coaching, you've got to get crazy specific. Who are the type of people that you want to hit? What's the problem that you want to solve? And what do you have that somebody else doesn't have? Because as you can see, there's a lot of coaches in the world, of course. So let's talk about the fun part. This is what's going to get me excited. How you can get online clients. So there's 4 steps to getting them, and we'll go down into some detail of each ones. But these 4 steps, regardless of what model you choose or how you want to implement online in, you need to have all 4 of these to actually have a brand that someone's going to actually spend money and invest in. So step 1, we talked about a little bit, selecting your niche within your market. Step 2, you've got to know the ideal client, but I'm not talking about their struggles. The ideal client's going to be talking about how they spend money, what are the types of things that they invest in. We'll go into that in a second. Step 3, create client converting content, the 3 C's. How many of you post content and that content doesn't get any interest, doesn't get any results, doesn't get any reach outs? That's a clear indicator that you're not talking to your market in the right way, or that you might not be using the right platform for your online coaching business. And step 4, retaining people and getting referrals through your delivery. Having retention and a referral system built into your delivery is what will keep these people buying continuous programs and keep them in your realm. So let's go into step 1, selecting your niche. So what do you specialize in and how do you stand out? One thing that I'll say is no website's going to sell your program. I'm sure for those of you who use FitHive, you found out by now that while Sonny and his team can create crazy good websites, they can't pull anybody to that website. It's really about knowing what platforms you're going to use and the specialty. So for me, being able to put myself from the hormone perspective, my choice was to specialize in hormones. 1, because I'm passionate about it. I had cancer a while back, so that's why I chose that. But the big thing is understanding what that niche is and determining how you're going to stand out with it. I choose to stand out using my podcast. because I know that my client demographic who are serious about their hormones in their body, they're listening to tips and tools every day. My demographic, it's not on Instagram. So instead of talking to deaf ears, I'm going to put it in a place where, of course, people are going to see it, hear it, and listen to it all the time. And selecting your niche is about telling everyone and anyone about your niche, which comes down to content. If you never tell anyone about your service, you're not going to get any interest about your service. So just adding, hey, I also do online coaching on your website, that's not going to get your current clients to buy it. You've got to talk to them about it. You've got to talk to them about the benefits, which is where the niche comes from. So, like I said, this is what my niche looks like. So from my Facebook page, and you guys feel free, I encourage you to look and mimic at some of the stuff that I do if it suits you. This is basically my header of my Facebook page. I also use LinkedIn and I use my podcast. That's where all my content lives. I don't bother with TikTok. I don't bother with Instagram because my client doesn't live there. My client's a lot older and they're not going to go on Snapchat and all of those other places. I also use really easy to use tools like a QR code because people just want to snap and click. Where in my niche, some of these people own businesses. For them, convenience is key. This is professional and it matches my professional image and the brand that's there. So when people are looking at it, they feel comfortable to be able to connect with me. And through the podcast, they know what I'm talking about, or they feel that I'm confident in what I'm talking about, which encourages the reach out. Step 2, big one, knowing your ideal client. Understanding their issues is not just someone has to lose weight and they really struggle with keeping their habits on track. I'm talking about something as specific as this. Have you ever put on a pair of jeans after eating a meal? That meal just happened to have half an apple in it. You bloated like a fish, and now all of a sudden you can't go out with your girlfriends because you're paranoid about what they're thinking when they're looking at you. That level of specificity. When you're looking at your ideal client, you have to understand how they're going to use your support, how they're going to work with you, and what the struggle is going to be when they actually start the communication for you. So in our example, majority of my clients are women, like 98% of our clients are women. That being said, the women that I work with are self-driven. They don't need their partner's permission to do anything. When they see something, they're going to want it and they're going to take it because they know it's beneficial for them. So when I create content and when I create accessibility, I create it with high emotional touch points. I create it saying that, hey, you're a bad boss bitch. You don't need any permission from anybody. And your level of investment is your commitment to your family, to your friends, and to yourself. I speak their language, and therefore they will reach out and they will communicate. That also means that I know how they invest as well. So although I showed you that you use Stripe, the majority of our clients e-transfer us and they pay in full. I give a $200 to $300 discount for paying in full, and our clients, they don't want anything else on their credit card. So for them, they're like, and this was a response to our consults. Listen, can I just e-transfer you it? Yeah, actually, and you'll save $300 for doing so. Cool. So by understanding that, I can also craft my offers in ways where people will be inclined to do it. If my clients don't like monthly payments, why would I offer them a monthly option? It doesn't make sense for them. Or if my clients are the kind of person who's going to attend a seminar, listen to my podcast, and then join my program, then I need to start promoting more of those seminars so they can get in my world. So understanding how your clients invest is really important. Third part, create client converting content. I'm going to show you this in 2 forms because there's no wrong way to create content. This is my wife. My wife is very, very popular as a binge eating coach. And just like I said, I don't use TikTok. She uses TikTok and Instagram because the majority of her clients are 25 to 37-year-old females, and this is where they live and breathe. So when she creates content, she creates videos showing the guilt or the guiltiness after having a binge, talking about the relationships between hiding binge eating from their partner and giving them the offer to reach out. And in turn, she gets messages talking about, listen, sorry, I've been flaky. I've been trying therapy. She did a post on therapy, and they're like, I know that therapy doesn't work for me. She did a post on how many times have I sent you a link and you haven't joined? And they're like, listen, I know you sent me the link last time. I promise I won't be flaky this time. You build content around the verbiage that you want your client to become. Because when clients become self-aware, this is what's going to encourage them to reach out to you and to do it. And also, look at that bottom right-hand one. I found your page and everything you're saying is just so relatable. When you begin to talk as that person, you're going to get two responses. One, it's so relatable, you're talking to me. And the other one, stop talking about me. Stop talking about my life. Guess what? Both are good because it means that you're hitting the actual touch points and emotion to draw that person either towards or away from you. Now, the way that I do it is totally different. I use my podcast. By having people, me in their ear every single day, I'm building trust. And I also use Facebook Lives because I know that I'm a powerful speaker. Hopefully I'm a powerful speaker. You'll tell me at the end of this. But through my speaking and through my inflection, I get a lot more across than just a traditional post. I also encourage my clients to share their journey from the onboarding. I tell them, when you onboard, I want you to drop onto your Facebook post that you're starting this journey and why you started it. So when clients do that, their friends and their family members reach out and they say, hey, I saw my friend's result, or they reach out for my podcast and listen, I've been listening to you for, it's probably 4 months at this point. Let's talk about some coaching options. This is why there's no wrong way to do content. Where a lot of people get content wrong is where you try to mimic another coach, you lose your personability, and where you try to do something where your clients are not on. If I'm speaking to business owners, I'm not on TikTok, I'm on LinkedIn. If I'm speaking to moms, you got to be speaking in moms groups and using Facebook. So understanding where your clients live and what platforms they use really allows you to build the best content that actually gets seen. Because you could have the most amazing post and you're like, wow, I cried while writing this. If 0 people see it, you're going to change 0 lives. So once that person comes into your world and they join your program and be a part of your process, making sure that you retain them and you get referrals for them is very important. And you can do this through your delivery. So in our main programs, when someone joins our programs, the smallest program that we offer is our hormone reboot program. It is 8 weeks in length. That 8 weeks, on week 7 to 8, I am encouraging people to join our 4-month-long program, our Vantage program. The Vantage program is going to show them how to reduce and remove their inflammation, how to eat right for their body type, how to tackle their cravings for sugar and salt. So as you can see, it's based on a lot of digestion. Now, at the end of that program, about 3 to 4 weeks before it's done, and at this point, the program's already talked about this person has joined the next level, this person's joined phase 2. My Advantage program, these premier modules, they're phase 2. You see, just by talking about it, Advantage, additional, premier, better, I'm encouraging people or alluding that this next step is going to be even more exciting than the last. And this is where I tell them, this is where we're actually going to teach you how to create and adjust your own training and nutrition. And I do that. We walk them through how to create their own training plan. We walk them through how the things they need to do to start looking at the nutrition. And we start working at habit management and habit stacking. So the way that I like to see it is our 3 base programs is do what I say. Second one, follow along and improve your digestion. And third one, start to do it by yourself with my okay. Now, after that point, it doesn't mean that they leave my world because I have so much to teach them. So I encourage them to buy and purchase our menopause masterclass. If they are looking at having children, they join our prenatal fitness course. And then when they finish having children, they join our postnatal hormone course to get them back on track. If they have areas where inflammation pops up again, we have a program where they can remove inflammation through 21 days. Or even someone on a small, lower and entry level, how do you lose the 10 pounds naturally using food to then ascend them through these programs? Someone always has something else that they can learn. And if you're just having them hit their single goal and then not continuing, you're losing your ability of retention. I'm curious, drop in the chat, what is the longest that clients stay with you? Is it a year? Is it 2 years? What is that? Because retention can go a long way of improving. Now, from a referral perspective, referrals are built into many pieces of this program. As you see on the top here, I have a section called the Start Here modules. These modules are not how to start their program. It's actually how you need to behave in my program. So our Start Here modules are, these are the expectations coming in: positive mindset, positive attitude, and communication. The second video is, I am 100% invested in you in this process, so I don't do a lot of marketing. I'm going to ask you at the end of this process, if you have referrals, if this is working for you, and I need you to help me build this community. So I teach them in the second video how to refer me to somebody else. And because they watched that video, if at the end of the program I ask them for a referral, they're already expecting it because that's what I told them that I was going to do. Also through the Start Here, I talk about our supplements, which allows them to be able to buy or purchase additional things if in fact they need it. So through this, your course code can be designed so it naturally funnels people into the next step. For our 8-week program, week 6 to 7 is where they get emails talking about the next step. And then they get a text on week 8 saying, hey, Coach Andrew's pumped with you to talk about the next steps. Did you see the email? And they go, yeah, I'm excited to learn more. For our Vantage program, that's 16 weeks long, at week 10, I start talking to them about it. And the reason why is I tell them, listen, we're still going to finish off your first phase, but I need to know what to do for your second phase because I've got to build it out. So I get an idea of who's invested and who's not. So I can focus more time on the people who want to be in my world. And I do the same thing with the Advantage program. So you want to make sure that you're building these referrals each and every step of the way through this. So you can do this through smaller courses or through a main course code like we have. Bottom line, biggest part about making sure that you're transitioning through this is building an online brand that feels good with how you want to live. I want no restriction of travel. I don't work with people one-on-one anymore. Not for PT, not for training. I have coaches that do that type of stuff. So for me, I like the ability of freedom of travel. And I also really like changing people's lives on a one-on-one perspective. So for me, my coaching is really, really one-on-one based because I love it. But if you don't want one-on-one at all, don't have one-on-one as an option. Have just a program where it's only group, where you can have just that 1 hour a week where you're giving your time and you're showing up powerfully for that group of people. Allow them to give each other accountability by being in a group or using the FitHive community board to be able to speak between each other. Online doesn't have to be something where you're like, oh, I need additional revenue, so I have to throw this in. What excites you about it? If you want to do coaching in only master classes, that's amazing. People will pay you 30 to 40 bucks each time to learn a masterclass. If not, select the build out that makes the most sense for you and make sure that you're having options through that. So that's all for the presentation piece. Before we go into the questions, I want to talk about the coach to coach program that Sunny kind of mentioned at the beginning. Something about coaches is they reach out to other coaches and they're like, listen, can you help me do what you've done? Which is what we've had a lot through not just the Fit Hive community, but also through personal coaches that I know one-on-one as well. We've decided to build out a coach to coach program. This is really about working through what exists in this funnel here for people to start their online part of their business. So with that, it doesn't matter if you just have a boutique studio or you have a place or you want to build solely an online brand. This program is built solely for people to be able to get and build an online portion of their business. So we work from very beginning going all the way down, talking about the brand development like we worked through today, building out your price point, working through what it'll take you to deliver along with your current work schedule. And then we spend a lot of time on the two in the center, creating client converting content and building out that client delivery. Because if you can't get anyone to join your program, nothing else matters. And if people join your program and they don't see results, well, nothing else matters. So selling and marketing becomes a big play of that. How do you find people online? What are the best platforms to do it? Who are your referral partners? So in my case, we work actually a lot with naturopathic doctors because of the hormone perspective. So I get a lot of referrals for them because they don't do the nutrition piece like I do. So how can we build better referral zones for you? And that comes down to building the better referral sources and then keeping that long-term client with your retention. If your client is leaving and they don't know the next step or they just fall off the end of your program, then retention should be ultimately key, because especially with the prices of online ads now, if you're paying $200 to get a person on a consult, you got to make sure that you keep them if they're going to join. So we actually have 3 more spots for our beta clients. Preferably, I would like someone who has a facility or a studio. We are working with 2 people now that have solely just the online as a component. And with that, it's all about building that 8 to 10K months and establishing that consistency with your online brand. Online coaching, no joke, I probably spend 13 hours a week coaching my people. And the rest, I get to live life the way that I want to. And that's why I believe in online so powerfully. That being said, I never said that having a facility is not the right path. I had one and I loved it. But you will all face 2 problems with having a facility. You will run out of time slots, or you will fill all of your personal time in your facility. So if you can't overcome those 2 obstacles, you'll be stuck in the same cycle, having your facility over and over again. So at this point, I'll open it up to questions. While I open the questions here, I'll also drop the link in the chat for the coach to coach program here. Let me stop this share on that. There you go. Any questions here? I'll have to check the chat here.
I think there was one in the very beginning from Pedro. It says, if you can see it up there in the beginning.
Yeah, perfect. Pedro, so I'm understanding is we should create a new brand or website for online training programs. No, you don't have to create a new brand at all. So as an example, the company is Fit for All Fitness. So even though we specialize in hormones and my podcast is called The Hormone Helper, Fit for All Fitness is the brand where they can get hormone support, online coaching. When we had a physical facility, we had Fit for All, and that's where people went. The name was the same and the brand was the same. When you have multiple offers, so when you have a physical place and an online place, your content is structured to talk about both offers differently. So the way that I talk about my online programs when I create a post is really promoting accessibility, the time that they would save by not going to a place, and of course, addressing whatever specific issue. Whereas if I had a physical space like a lot of you guys have, then I would keep my physical space content different. Here's the benefits of working physically with a coach, making sure that someone's watching your forum, making sure that you're getting the different atmosphere that's at your facility, access to certain equipment. So Pedro, you don't have to create a new brand or a new website. Even on our website, on our list of services, I used to just had, hey, if you're in this location in Oakville, click this page and that's our facility. Otherwise, here's a list of our online services, and it worked totally fine. And I'm sure, Sonny can tell you, he's got people that just have the same website. So you don't need anything there. Brandon Morrison says, thank you so much. You are very welcome. So you'll get the recording for any of the additional questions and stuff as well too. So awesome. Any other questions?
Hey, Andrew, I got a question. So on that last slide with everything that you provide and help coaches that join your program with, what's the timeline? Let's say if I join your program, for me to go through that entire funnel, and let's say I'm starting from scratch from the online perspective, to be able to get everything built out, start, building content, programs, all that, and taking on your first client.
Yeah. So the entire process is 6 months through it. That being said, you got to get up and running from the 3-month mark. One of the biggest hiccups that people will find with online is you want the perfected solution. So you're going to hum and haw, you're going to dick around with creating your course code, you're going to start to film all these videos, you might then go film another 1,500 workout exercises, and yet you've not sold anyone on it, you haven't acquired any clients for it, and that's costing you money and time. So my goal with the program, which we've already done with the people working with the C2C program, is from your 0 to 3 months, this is branded launch. I walk you through your first launch, and you should be launching your online program or launching an offer every 3 to 4 months. Because with online, people can't walk into it. They have to see it, which means you have to promote it. So the goal is walk them through the first launch, get your first 5 to 10 clients. So then that way, especially from an online price point, even if someone was paying you $500 a month, getting $2,500 to $3,500 in reoccurring is enough for you to go, now I can go and build this. That's the goal with all of them. Is I don't want people in development. This isn't a startup, right? Where the tech never gets off the ground. It's like, let's build it, let's get people in and then sell it. So it's a 6-month process. And then essentially at that point, they have the brand, they understand the client delivery, whether they're using FitHive for the systems, we can work through that and set up all of their nurture sequences, and then working on the communication. There is also a little bit of sales education if someone has if they're not comfortable doing online sales and conversations as well. I think the majority of people on this call, though, are pretty decent from a sales perspective. I mean, if you're selling people at a physical place, it's the same. You just do it this way virtually. So that's a good question, Joe.
A couple more in the chat there, Andrew.
Scotty, so if we've already been around, if we've already been a while in our 17 clients, would that program help us figure out what we're doing wrong and change it to be more successful? Yes. So don't worry about the amount of clients, because at the end of the day, it comes down to revenue. So people think, when this is where online can get really, really tilted, is it is all about finding where it's not working. And really the funnel comes down from acquisition. So leads coming in. If no one is seeing your program, acquisition is your problem. If you're getting leads but no one's signing up, sales or your offer is your problem. We work through everything individually, Scotty, so then that way, of course, you can continue to get more clients. That being said, I learned a really interesting lesson in having a facility and in having an online business. Having a facility, we coached within the first year about 1,100 people in 1 year of having our studio. And I made $12,000 in profit. I couldn't believe that we had $1 million come into our place and I made 12 grand. And I looked at myself and was like, even though I've coached all these people, the number doesn't matter. What matters is your profitability. I don't care if you have 20 clients, big deal. If you have 20 clients, but each of them pay you $1,000 each and you're making 20K a month, you're going to be 10 times more profitable than just having a physical facility alone. So looking at client acquisition is about price point and what you need to live the lifestyle that you want, Scotty. So what you're doing wrong, of course, every individual person's going to have a challenge, and that's why we will, have an individual conversation. But if you want to chat more, I'll drop my my email in the chat box too, and we can have that convo. Brennan, is there a course or certificate that you would recommend to specialize in hormone optimization? So I'm a little different than traditional people. I'm a loser. I went to school way too many times. So I'm a registered dietitian. I'm a certified nutritionist. I have certifications to be able to do blood work. What I'll tell you is this: don't get a certification just if you think that that's the only thing that's going to sell your program. I've spent an absorbent amount of money on schooling, and over the span of the past 4 years, it's never changed my client delivery. So really, if you're looking to provide nutrition in Canada, at least, you need to be a registered nutritionist, and that you can get through CASM, or even Sunny, your friend has the nutrition certification as well too. That's really solid. Sunny's got a few connections with that. Nutrition is just about giving someone a process. To become a dietitian, I had to get a 4-year degree. I don't recommend that because I never changed my delivery. I got this title and then I was like, so I'm going to do the exact same thing. So focus on that. What is the goal of the education? If it's to sell more, you don't need it. If it's because you're like, my client is missing this, then I would encourage you to take a look at that as well. From a hormone optimization perspective, although I call myself the hormone helper, one of the things is I am very clear, I'm not a doctor or a naturopath. While I can read blood work, I'm looking at blood work and I'm looking at how I can help with their nutrition. So that is my limitation. That's why me and naturopaths work together very well, because if I see blood work and I'm like, whoa, this is something that requires medication, I connect them immediately and we can have that symbiotic relationship. So hopefully that helped. Nicole, how are you keeping your content fresh? You repackage the same gift over and over again. So my wife, Lorna, she only does binge eating. I'm fortunate. Hormones come with a lot of different challenges, so I can talk a lot about stuff, but my wife talks about binge eating over and over again. It's not about keeping the content new. You're going to have people who that one piece of content will be the first time they ever see you, and you're going to have the person who it's the 50th time they've seen you. The goal of content is to either get someone in your world or to get them to leave your world. So what I mean by that is I want to put out enough content that each and every week someone joins and goes, oh, wow, this is the first time I've seen Coach Andrew. Let me listen to him and see if it relates. Now, as content builds, if someone has seen the 30th, 40th, and 50th post, at this point, they've got to make a decision on whether or not they want to commit. And content is designed, if you don't commit, you're going to get frustrated that I keep bringing your issue up over and over again. So you'll probably leave my world. And that's okay, because the people who will work with me will say yes, and the people who won't will say no. So keeping content fresh is about sharing experience and discussing the same topic in the verbiage of your clients. So if my clients use words like overwhelmed, that's what I'm going to say. If my clients use things like lack of energy, I'm going to say that so they can become really relatable. In terms of getting the information and education, a lot of my information from a hormone perspective comes from my dietitian background, but everything else from my mindset and my routine comes from my experience, just like any coach that's here. How many times does a friend talk to you and you said, hey, look, you can be better than this, right? Like there's things that we can do and change. If you've given a recommendation, or if you've talked your friend out of a bad spot, you've got all of the education you need to talk somebody through accountability and headspace. Now, again, it's not therapy. It's not what you're doing, right? If it gets to the point you say, hey, I think you need to go see therapy. But any of these communications that you're having, or any of the posts that you make, are on how you as a coach were able to ascend. I use a combination of personal experience. So I had cancer when I was younger. So I've never been overweight, but I went from 185 pounds to 130 pounds and I could barely walk. So while I've never been overweight, my hormones were messed up for a really long time. I can talk through that experience. I can talk through the experiences of my clients, where someone comes and they're like, I don't get it. I see doctors, they push me off and I feel like I'm just tackling this battle by myself. You can talk through it through both. So that's how I would recommend you approach content, Nicole. Wanda, have to go watch the replay. No problem. Thanks for hopping on, Wanda. So great question. You're going to spend a lot of time from an online perspective marketing. And if you're not comfortable, or if you're not excited about marketing, figure out the way that gets you excited to market. So I like to podcast because clearly I like to speak. So I'm going to spend a lot of time talking, and through conversation, I can get my message across. I hate creating posts, these long-winded stories that I feel that nobody reads. And I know my clients hate reading them. So I don't do it that way. For me, my enjoyment is my podcast and doing things like this. I'll do a seminar for someone, or I'll go and I'll do a presentation for a corporate company, record it, and then upload it and sell it for money. Why not? Say it's bringing the information again. So do content in the way that you can be excited about it. Excellent. No worries. Thanks for the compliment, Brennan. Awesome. So yeah, I know we're literally just approaching above the hour mark. So I still have another 20 minutes if everybody's got questions. If not, if you guys and gals have any additional questions or any information, I'll drop my my email in the chat here, so then that way you guys can message me. I'm open for conversation, questions, anything. At the end of the day, I've seen the benefit that online has. And if you don't have this as a part of your business yet, there are ways that you can do it. So it's like, let's just get you doing something in there. So if you've got questions, feel free to shoot me over a message.
Sweet. Well, Andrew, you're the man. Like I said in the beginning, appreciate you a ton for jumping on and doing this. Tons of great content. I appreciate that. You guys, he is doing beta program and he wants to help other, fit pros. This wasn't the intention of that. If you're interested in working with him, you really should talk to him. At least have a conversation. He's not going to get on and try to sell you anything, but I think you'll want to maybe work with him. He's got some good stuff. And the people that he's helped so far and the revenue they've done, within 6 months has been, I think everyone would be pretty happy with that. So Andrew, thank you again. I appreciate it. And we'll probably do, another one of these here in a couple months, maybe a little bit more detail on the step-by-step process and break it down. So if anyone has any questions, he put his email in the chat, or email us if too, and we can get you guys in touch. So all right, I'm going to hit unrecord right now, and we can just end the meeting.